I understand that I am to blame, and I'm truly sorry for the pain it caused. I hope someday I can be forgiven, as I hope to be able to forgive myself.
She came to America to help raise a child. Prosecutors say she became part of a murder plot that destroyed an entire family. And she is only the first woman on this list. 10 women, one thing in common. Every one of them was convicted for murder in 2026. Case 1. For years, the Banfield family looked like everything was working. A comfortable home in Herndon, Virginia, a husband who investigated financial crimes for the federal government, a wife who saved children's lives in an ICU ward, and a 4-year-old daughter who knew nothing about what was coming. From the outside, everything looked fine, but behind the walls of that house, something had been quietly falling apart. Brendan Banfield had started an affair, not with a stranger, with the woman they had hired to care for their daughter. Her name was Juliana Perez Magalhães. She had come from Brazil. She was 21 years old when she moved into the Banfield home. Her job was simple: help raise the child, be someone the family could trust. But by August 2022, the relationship had changed, and according to prosecutors, Brendan Banfield had started telling Juliana something that went far beyond an affair. He wanted to marry her. He wanted children with her. But first, he needed to get rid of his wife, not through a divorce. Divorce meant money. Divorce meant losing his daughter. So he told Juliana there was another way. What the two of them built next was not a plan born from rage. It was calculated, deliberate, and deeply disturbing. They went online. They opened Christine Banfield's laptop, and they created a fake profile on a fetish website called FetLife, posing as Christine herself. The profile invited a stranger to come to the house for a violent sexual roleplay. The idea was simple: lure a man inside, kill Christine, and blame the stranger for everything. Hi viewers, was Juliana a willing partner in this plot, or was she manipulated by a man who knew exactly how to control people? Keep watching, the answer may surprise you. The man who responded to that profile was Joseph Ryan, 39 years old. He had no connection to the Banfield family. He did not know Christine. He did not know Brendan. He had no idea what was waiting for him inside that house. On the morning of February 24th, 2023, Juliana took the 4-year-old daughter and waited in a car outside. When Ryan arrived at the front door, she called Brendan. Brendan was at a nearby McDonald's. He had turned off Christine's phone and left it in a kitchen drawer. He drove back. He entered through the basement. He took the child downstairs, and then he went upstairs. Brendan Banfield shot Joseph Ryan. Then he picked up the knife Ryan had brought to the house and stabbed his wife. Christine Banfield was stabbed 7 times in the neck. When Ryan showed signs of movement, Juliana fired a second shot. Joseph Ryan died. Christine Banfield died. And then the two of them called 911. They told the operator they had come home to find a stranger attacking Christine. They said they had shot an intruder in self-defense. They were standing in the same house where they had just carried out a double murder, and they were performing for the dispatcher. Investigators did not accept the story. The timelines did not hold. The evidence did not line up. And when detectives began pulling the threads, everything unraveled. Juliana eventually cooperated with authorities. She confessed. She pleaded guilty to manslaughter, and she took the stand against Brendan Banfield. She told the jury everything: the fake profile, the plan, the morning of the murders. She told them Brendan had said divorce was not an option. She told them he had been the one who wanted Christine dead. The jury believed her. In February 2026, Brendan Banfield was convicted on 2 counts of aggravated murder. In June 2026, Judge Penny Azcarate sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Before handing down the sentence, the judge looked at him and said, "The level of cruelty, calculation, and inhumanity in this case reflects something far deeper than anger or impulse. It reflects evil." Juliana Perez Magalhães was sentenced to 10 years in prison, the maximum the law allowed. The woman who came to America to raise someone else's child will serve her sentence behind bars, and when those years are done, she will be deported back to Brazil. She will never be allowed to return. Christine Banfield was 37 years old. She was a pediatric ICU nurse, a mother. She died in her own bedroom. Joseph Ryan was 39 years old. He had never met the Banfields before the day he walked into that house. He left in a body bag. One 4-year-old girl lost her mother, and the man who was supposed to protect her is the reason she is gone. That is case 1. There are 9 more. The next woman on this list did not become involved in a conspiracy. According to prosecutors, she was the conspiracy. Men met her, trusted her, spent time with her, and then they died. One survived long enough to tell police her name. That decision would expose one of Ohio's most disturbing murder cases. Case 2. Rebecca Auborn. Most of the men who met Rebecca Auborn believed they were meeting a woman for a night of companionship. Some thought it was a date. Some thought it was a hookup. Some thought it was the beginning of something more. None of them knew they were walking into a trap. One man survived. He went directly to investigators, and the account he gave them would eventually expose one of the most disturbing murder cases Ohio had seen in years. Rebecca Auborn was 36 years old at the time of her sentencing. According to prosecutors, she targeted men she met during encounters that often began as dates, hookups, or arrangements for sex. Then, fentanyl entered the picture, and while the men were unconscious or dying, prosecutors say she stole from them and walked away. Authorities eventually linked her to 4 confirmed victims: Joseph Crumpler, Robert Snoke, Wayne Aiken, and Guy Renda Jr. Joseph Crumpler was 30 years old. Robert Snoke was 54. Wayne Aiken was 64. Guy Renda Jr. was 42. 4 men, 4 families, 4 funerals, and according to prosecutors, 1 woman connected to all of them. For months, many of those deaths did not immediately raise alarm. Some were initially viewed as overdoses. Others appeared at first glance to be tragic but unremarkable. But one family refused to stop asking questions. Wayne Aiken's daughter, Kristen Aiken Crockett, knew something was not right. The circumstances surrounding her father's death made no sense to her. She contacted authorities, but she was told there was no indication of foul play. Months passed. Then a tip reached her. Someone claimed that a woman known as Becca had been connected to multiple deaths. Kristen brought the information to investigators, and when nothing seemed to happen, she kept pushing, again and again and again. Eventually, investigators began connecting the pieces, and what emerged was deeply disturbing. According to court records, Auborn repeatedly targeted vulnerable men. Fentanyl was introduced during the encounter. The victim lost consciousness, stopped breathing, and Auborn left, taking property with her, leaving the victim behind. Investigators would later argue that the same pattern appeared repeatedly. The victims were different. The outcome was the same. As evidence accumulated, the investigation drew statewide attention. Families came forward, new details emerged, and prosecutors announced what many had begun to suspect. These deaths were not isolated incidents. They were connected. Authorities also acknowledged they could not completely rule out the possibility of additional victims. Then came the courtroom. Prosecutors laid out the timeline, the encounters, the thefts, the deaths, and the survivor whose account helped point investigators toward the truth. Rebecca Auborn pleaded guilty, 4 counts of murder, 1 count of felonious assault. When sentencing day arrived, family members filled the courtroom. Some spoke through grief, others through anger. All of them carried the same reality. Someone they loved was never coming home. Then Kristen Aiken Crockett stood and addressed the woman convicted of killing her father. She spoke about the man she knew, a father, a friend, a kind and generous person. And then she said something that seemed to stop the room. She said she could not bring herself to hate Rebecca Auborn, and that she never would.
Dear Rebecca, my father would have never hurt you. He wasn't like any man you may have encountered. He was kind, he was gentle, he was loving, he was awkward and so tender. My father was loved, he was cared for. He put a lot of good into the world.
On February 20th, 2026, Franklin County Judge Karen Phipps sentenced Rebecca Auborn to 4 consecutive life sentences. She must serve 60 years before she becomes eligible for parole. But one question still lingers. How many opportunities were missed before the pattern became impossible to ignore? Because by the time investigators finally connected the cases, Joseph Crumpler was gone, Robert Snoke was gone, Wayne Aiken was gone, Guy Renda Jr. was gone, and 4 families were left with questions that can never truly be answered. That is Case 2. There are 8 more. Case 3. Kouri Richins. The next woman on this list took a very different approach. She stayed close. She accepted sympathy. She spoke publicly about grief. She even wrote a children's book about loss. Prosecutors say she already knew exactly why her husband was dead. Eric Richins was 39 years old, a father of 3 boys, a man who, by every account, showed up for his family. He did not know that the woman he had married was watching him, calculating, waiting. On the morning of March 4th, 2022, at their home just outside Park City, Utah, Kouri Richins dialed 911.
911, what's the status of the emergency? My husband's not breathing, he's cold. Okay, tell me exactly what happened. I don't know, I just came in, I was sleeping with my kids. Okay, I can't understand you. I need you to take a deep breath. What's going on? I don't know. I was sleeping in with my kids. I just came in our bed, and I turned over, and he's just cold. He's just cold. Who's cold? My husband. And he's not breathing? No. He's not breathing? No. I need you to confirm it for me. Is he not breathing? No. Okay, can you do CPR? No, I don't know how. You don't know? I'm going to tell you how to. Are you willing to do CPR? Yeah. Okay. I'm sending the paramedics to help you now. Stay on the line and I'll tell you exactly what to do next, okay? Okay, are you right by your husband right now? Yeah, he's so pale.
Paramedics rushed to the home. They performed CPR. Eric Richins was already gone. Kouri told everyone he must have died in his sleep. She wept. She held her boys. She accepted condolences from people who had no reason to doubt her. And then she wrote a book. The book was called Are You With Me? A children's book about grief. She dedicated it to her amazing husband and wonderful father. She promoted it on local television.
Now is author of Are You With Me? Kouri Richins to share her 3 C's to helping kids cope with grief.
So my husband passed away unexpectedly last year. So it's March 4th was a 1-year anniversary for us, and he was 39. It completely took us all by shock. And we have 3 little boys, 10, 9, and 6. And, my kids and I kind of wrote this book on the different emotions and grieving processes that we've experienced last year. And, hoping that it can kind of help other kids, deal with this and kind of, find happiness some way or another.
She sat in front of cameras, composed and articulate, talking about loss and love, and how to help children understand death. Think about that for a moment. She was giving interviews about grief, while investigators were quietly pulling apart the story she had told them. Toxicology told a different story entirely. Eric Richins had approximately 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in his system. It had not been injected, it had been ingested in a Moscow Mule cocktail that Kouri had made for him the night he died. But it was not her first attempt. Weeks before Eric died, on Valentine's Day, he had become violently ill after eating a sandwich Kouri had prepared. He survived that time, and he told his sisters what he believed had happened. He told them he thought Kouri had tried to poison him. He was right. Investigators traced the fentanyl back to a woman Kouri knew, someone she had specifically asked for what she called the Michael Jackson drug. Her phone told the rest of the story. Searches for luxury prisons for the wealthy. Searches asking whether the FBI could recover deleted messages. She had altered Eric's life insurance policies without his knowledge. She stood to collect nearly $2 million. She was already drowning in debt. The motive was not hidden. It was hiding in plain sight. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The jury deliberated for approximately 3 hours. Guilty. First-degree aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder, insurance fraud, forgery. On May 13, 2026, Judge Richard Mrazek sentenced Kouri Richins to life in prison without the possibility of parole. That date was not random. It was Eric Richins' birthday. The judge stated that someone convicted of those crimes is simply too dangerous to ever be free. The children's book still exists. She was on television selling it to grieving parents while she knew exactly what she had done to the man she dedicated it to. Some people run after what they have done. Some people hide. Kouri Richins sat down in front of a camera and read bedtime stories. Case 4. Latoshia Daniels. The next woman also had a plan. She made it that same afternoon, and then she drove 3 hours to carry it out. Rhodes Perry was 36 years old. He was the executive pastor at Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church in Memphis, Tennessee. He was married to Tabitha Perry Archie. To the people around him, he was a man of faith, a respected member of his community. But he was also carrying a secret, a 2-year affair with a woman named Latoshia Daniels. Daniels was 46 years old. She was a licensed clinical social worker, a certified anger management specialist. She ran her own private practice. She spent her career helping people control their emotions. On the afternoon of April 4, 2019, Rhodes Perry sent her a message through a disappearing message app. The message was short, just 6 words. "I think our time is up." Daniels later said those words sent her into a crisis. That same afternoon, she purchased a 9mm Ruger pistol. Then she got in her car and drove for hours from Little Rock, Arkansas to Memphis, Tennessee. She met Perry and his wife at their apartment in Collierville. For about 10 minutes, the 3 of them sat together, talking. Tabitha Perry Archie had no idea about the affair. She knew Daniels from church, from tennis, from dance classes. She had no reason to feel afraid. Then the visit ended. Everyone stood up. Everyone headed toward the door. They walked outside together, and that is where it happened. Perry refused to walk Daniels to her car. Tabitha had already turned back toward the apartment when she heard something that made her stop. She turned around and saw Daniels pull out a gun. Rhodes Perry was shot multiple times, in the head, in the torso. His injuries were fatal. Tabitha Perry Archie was shot in the shoulder. She survived. Witnesses later told police that during the shooting, Daniels shouted, "You broke my heart." A jury convicted Latoshia Daniels of second-degree murder on November 7, 2025. On February 24, 2026, she was sentenced to 20 years in prison. The judge summed it up in a single sentence: "A broken heart does not justify someone dying." She counseled people on managing anger for a living. Then she drove across state lines with a loaded weapon and used it in front of the man's wife. Case 5. Neiana Allen-Bailey. The next case involves a man who never argued with anyone that night. He never threatened anyone. He was simply working, trying to make it to morning. Amare Geda was 52 years old. He came to the United States from Ethiopia and built a life the way so many immigrants do, through hard work, relentless work. At night, he drove for rideshare services. During the day, he worked at the airport. He had been doing both jobs for years. He had a wife, he had 2 children. Every shift was another step toward providing for them. On August 8, 2023, at around 3:20 in the morning, Geda was sitting in his Toyota Prius in Seattle's Sodo neighborhood, parked between shifts. A nearby surveillance camera captured what happened next. A young woman approached the driver's side door. She opened it. A struggle followed. It lasted roughly 10 seconds. Geda stepped out of the car. He stood up. She shot him. He collapsed and never moved again. Her name was Neiana Allen-Bailey. She was 18 years old. She drove away in Gita's Prius, and then she went about her life. For the next 2 days, she used the dead man's car to run errands. She visited family. She went to a hair appointment in Kent. She tossed his belongings out of the window, including his phone. She was eventually caught because of something remarkably ordinary, a parking complaint. Police checked the plates, recognized the vehicle, and waited. When Allen-Bailey returned, she was arrested. On March 27, 2026, Neiana Allen-Bailey was sentenced to 20 years in prison, but it was the sentencing hearing that left many people silent. Prosecutors played a song written by Guetta's 10-year-old son, a tribute to his father. Part of the song said, "I wish I could have stopped my dad from going to work that night. Wherever you are, Dad, I hope you are safe." A 10-year-old boy wrote those words for his father because he could not stop what happened. Case 6. Cathy Logan. The next case is 45 years in prison for less than 30 seconds of surveillance footage. Latoshia Green was 26 years old. On the night of August 10, 2023, just after 9 o'clock, she was standing outside a Phillips 66 gas station in Peoria, Illinois. Then she started walking away. That detail matters. She was walking away. Cathy Logan was 55 years old. Surveillance cameras recorded what happened next. Logan arrived at the gas station. She set her purse down. She reached in and grabbed the murder weapon. Then she walked directly toward Green, deliberately, purposefully, and stabbed her once in the chest. Latoshia Green collapsed onto the pavement. Logan fled, but the story did not end there. A short time later, she came back. Not to help, not to call for an ambulance, not to check if the woman was alive. She came back for the weapon. She retrieved it and left again. The murder weapon was never found. The jury deliberated for approximately 2 hours, then returned with a verdict: guilty, first-degree murder. On February 6, 2026, Cathy Logan was sentenced to 45 years in prison. The sentence must be served in full, no reduction, no early release. Latoshia Green was 26 years old. She was walking away, and that still was not enough to save her. The detail many people remember most is that Logan came back, not for the woman, for the knife. Case 7. Jessica Barnes Furland. The next case begins with a trigger pull, and then another, because the first one failed. Jaquan DeVaughn Bowen was 26 years old. He grew up in Asheville, North Carolina. Friends say he loved music, he loved karaoke, and he had a way of bringing energy into every room he entered. Jessica Barnes Furland was 41 years old. She was in the middle of a bitter custody dispute with her former husband, and Bowen had become part of that fight. He had written an affidavit supporting her ex-husband's custody case. The document raised concerns about her parenting, and it became the focus of an argument on October 3, 2024. Both had been drinking. They were sitting on the porch of Furland's home in West Asheville. The argument escalated. Furland went inside, then came back carrying a revolver, a .22 caliber handgun, nearly 60 years old. She pointed it at Bowen's head and pulled the trigger. Nothing happened. The chamber was empty. Bowen looked at her, then he shrugged. Just a shrug. According to prosecutors, that moment changed everything. Furland became enraged. She pulled the trigger again. This time the gun fired. The bullet struck Jaquan Bowen in the temple. He was rushed to Mission Hospital. 4 days later, he was gone. Furland called 911 herself. When officers arrived, they found her pressing paper towels against his wound. She told investigators she had not intended to kill him. She said she only wanted him to take her seriously. A plea agreement was reached after consultation with Bowen's family. On February 5, 2026, Jessica Barnes Furland pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and received a sentence of 125 to 157 months in prison, roughly 10 to 13 years. Jaquan Bowen was 26 years old. He shrugged, and that was the last thing he ever did. Case 9. Kiara Sade Cotton. The next case involves a child who was 3 years old. He had already been failed 4 separate times before he died, and after he died, nobody came looking for him for months. Jason Mathis was a little boy who never had a real chance. By the time anyone began asking questions, he had been gone for a long time. 4 reports had been filed against his mother with the Georgia Department of Family and Children Services. 4 opportunities to intervene. 4 times the system looked at this little boy and moved on. He was not yet verbal. He was still in diapers. He was described as unbathed and being fed approximately 1 meal per day, and still, no one came. Sometime in November 2021, in Vienna, Georgia, Kiara Sade Cotton told investigators she woke up and found Jason not breathing. He was 3 years old. She did not call anyone. She wrapped his body. She kept it inside the house. And then, at some point, she placed his remains in a shopping bag inside a shower curtain and drove to a field behind a shopping center in Cordell, Georgia. She left him there and went back to her life. Months passed. Family members eventually reported Jason missing after going a long time without seeing him. When the Department of Family and Children Services attempted welfare checks, Cotton evaded contact. She fled. She moved between cities. Police located her in Crisp County. During questioning, she told investigators where she had left his remains. They found them exactly where she said. On February 4th, 2026, Kiara Sade Cotton appeared in court. That date was not random. February 4th, 2026 was what would have been Jason's 9th birthday. She pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and concealing a death. She was sentenced to 25 years in prison. The district attorney looked at the courtroom and said, February 4th should have been filled with birthday candles for Jason. Instead, it became the day justice answered for his life. He was 3 years old. He had no voice, no way to protect himself, and the people who were supposed to protect him looked the other way every single time. Case 10. Jennifer Johnson. The final case on this list does not involve a conspiracy. It does not involve a long investigation or a cold case tip. It happened inside a home. The victim could not walk on her own. She could not speak in full sentences. She was 8 months old. Hannah Kent was left in the care of Jennifer Johnson on April 18, 2021, in Columbia, Missouri. Johnson was 49 years old. She was a woman Hannah's mother had trusted for over a decade. It was the first time she had ever been left alone with Hannah. It would be the last. When Hannah's mother returned home that morning, Hannah was bruised. She was cold to the touch. She was unresponsive. She was rushed to Women's and Children's Hospital. She was pronounced dead. Johnson lied to police. She told them she had been asleep. Phone records showed she had been awake the entire night, texting people, looking for drugs. She denied having blood on her clothing. Investigators found Hannah's blood on her shirt anyway. She denied knowing what happened. The jury did not believe her. Testimony during the trial described bruising and brain injuries consistent with blunt force trauma. The prosecutor told the jury plainly, Hannah Kent died from blunt force trauma, and Jennifer Johnson was the only person who could have done it. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. Guilty, second-degree felony murder, 2 counts of first-degree child endangerment. On February 23, 2026, Jennifer Johnson was sentenced to life in prison. Hannah Kent was 8 months old. She never got the chance to tell anyone what happened inside that house. She never got the chance to say anything at all. 10 cases, 10 verdicts, 10 families sitting in courtrooms in 2026, waiting for a word that would never fully give them back what they lost. And here is the thread that runs through almost every single one of them. Someone knew. A daughter who went to police and was turned away. A man who told his sisters he believed his wife had tried to poison him and then went home anyway. 4 separate reports filed about a little boy who could not speak for himself, and still no one came. The warnings existed. In nearly every case on this list, the warnings existed. These are the people this video is about, not the women who harmed them. Them. Kouri Richins, Broads Perry, Amare Gata, Tanazisha Green, Jaquan Bowen, Jasion Mathis, Hannah Kent, and the 4 men in Ohio whose names deserve to be spoken: Joseph Crumpler, Robert Snoke, Wayne Aiken, Guy Renda Jr.,